How's it going? Adam Drake here, and today I'm going to talk about some features on my Mugen MBX8R Eco Buggy, specifically referring to the wiring, how I have my ProTech battery wired to power my Hobbywing ESC and motor. So pretty much anytime I post a picture with an under the hood or do a video, one of the first comments is asking why I use a Dean style plug and also asking if I have any problems. Does it cause more resistance? Does it just create other issues? And if it created issues, obviously I would try to go a different method. I actually feel that it's a safer method and a better option than just using standard bullets. The one thing that's super important is not using kind of the cheaper or inexpensive Dean's plugs. So these plugs here are actually old school star connectors back when Habaco was around. I use these just because I don't really care for the bright red Dean's color. Dean's also makes a high temp, I believe a white and a black. But I've had a bunch of these star connectors from back in the day. They work really good. Um, they actually are really difficult to pull apart. Some of the imitation Dean style plugs are really easy to pull apart, so they can come apart during your race if the wire from your battery to the speed controller, if you don't have enough slack. And also because the connection's not as good with the imitation style, it can cause more resistance and can cause the plug to come unsoldered and things like that. So if you're using a high temp or traditional style Deans, you shouldn't have a problem. And kind of, there's a couple reasons why I do this. So the main reason is if you ever forget to plug your battery in, and someone's in a hurry, they go to plug it in, they can plug your speed controller in backwards, cause problems. So as long as everything's wired up when it's brand new correctly, you're never going to have a problem plugging it in backwards. I actually do my connector here to where this connector in the bullet always stays in the battery. So basically, when I go to use a new ProTech battery, I'll use brand new bullets, solder up a new connection, and then I'll just leave this connection on the battery. So if I have multiple batteries, I have multiple connectors already on the battery. The other thing is it allows me to have a little bit more clearance. So with the J-Concepts S15 for the MBX8R Eco, it pretty much fits perfect where the body just kind of rubs on the battery strap. But if you were to use a bullet that has more like the little thumb handle to be able to pull it in and out, you would have to flip the battery around and run the bullets in the back, which then make the wires super short and kind of hard to pull them in and out. I've seen a lot of guys when running just standard bullets into the battery where you're having to pull it in and out every time you charge the battery. Over time, the bullets can get dirty. They can get to where they don't spread open to provide the contact. So there's now all kinds of new bullets on the market that have little set screws that push and pry that open. So it does solve that problem, but still, I feel when you're pulling the bullet in and out of the battery, especially with how long a lot of the batteries will last, you would need to use a Q-tip, clean out the battery, spread the bullets. Where when I do it this way, where I use the Dean style plug, this is actually old school star connector, but I'd say it's Dean style because it's basically a copy of the Dean's plugs. But when I do this, the bullets basically go in to a new battery. They're not constantly going in and out. You're not having to spread the bullets. You don't have to clean the battery terminals. And I feel it's just a safer and just kind of more consistent way of running. I also have another video that I have planned in the near future because I have a lot of people, especially if they're looking at my car in person, sometimes they'll go, hey, your ESC looks like it's loose or maybe going to come out. So I'm going to do a video soon on soft mounting your ESC, which is something that you can use for Hobbywing or any of the ESCs in the market. I also do it with my Futaba receivers. So I'll do a little video on that, on soft mounting your electronics to increase durability in the near future. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something from it, and I was able to answer some questions. If so, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe.